Hello everyone, and welcome back for another RGB RPG's DM Prep Guide. Today we're going to be looking at Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. It's going to be Session 2, and this is going to be for our Tuesday game. We are running this on Tuesdays and Sundays, but for the time being, until they really start to diverge their paths, we'll just be doing one of these. So technically this is for Tuesdays, but this will be prepped for Sunday's game as well. Last week they saw the fall of Elturel. They were at a meeting of the officials of Elturel and Baldur's Gate meeting outside of Elturel to discuss the cult of the dragon and the threat they posed. They set out from that meeting and got a chance to interact with a few of the locals of Elturgard, got a chance to really personalize the area for them. And then they got to that ritual site where they got a little bit more than they expected. The cult of the dragon had been completely annihilated. The Cult of the Dragon members that were there were completely destroyed by another group, the Cult of the Dead Three. They were vicious and brutal in their execution of the Cult of the Dragon. And the party stumbled upon this, and they got a chance to really see the first real threat that they'll have to face, the Cult of the Dead Three. And they are indeed a dangerous group. So after stumbling upon this scene of violence that the Cult of the Dead Three had been enacting on the Cult of the Dragon, they managed to gather some information, leading them back to Baldur's Gate and a potential hideout for the Dead Three. So with this new information, and with Rhea Mantlemorn, the NPC that they had met at the meeting that accompanied them to this ritual site, Rhea Mantlemorn began to get really uneasy, believing that something terrible was about to happen at Elturel. And she was not wrong. The party rushed back to Elturel and arrived just in time to the outskirts of the town to see Elturel dragged down into the first circle of the Nine Hells. So that's where we're going to pick up today with them. And, of course, we're going to go through our entire checklist here. We have a little bit more information about the players than we did last time, mainly why they were at that meeting and what drew them to Elturel in the first place. So we have that information for all of these guys. And then we're going to start just outside of Elturel, the party standing out and looking over the crater, the survivors and those on the outskirts desperately trying to figure out what happened and figure out how and if they were going to be safe from any further calamity. So a lot of people survived, especially those that were outside of the city. Everyone inside of the city, of course, was dragged down into the Nine Hells, including the young girl that they had met on the road, Grace. They got to see her rainbow-colored scarf floating down out of the rubble and the wreckage just before the session ended. So the group has to decide how and if they're going to help these refugees get to somewhere safe. A lot of them are heading to Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate being the biggest city nearby, that is where they expect to be safe. So they're going to head in that direction, and it'll be up to the party whether or not they want to kind of get out ahead of the refugees or if they want to try to help as many people as they can get to Baldur's Gate. So while en route to Baldur's Gate, I'm going to have some of the local farmers, some people around say that they're leaving their homes too, that the undead have begun swarming out of the Fields of the Dead, which is a location just on the path to Baldur's Gate. So the party's going to have to get from here to here. It's no small distance, of course. And that'll take them a few days. At some point during their travels, they are going to be ambushed by a group of undead skeletons and skeletal war horses, a few of them. And this is kind of to signify that the barriers between the worlds that the Field of the Dead contains are beginning to break and pour forth undead into the land. The Fields of the Dead also nearby there is where the Hell Riders went into Avernus with Zerial. So there's a lot of unsettled spirits and undead in that area, and made even worse by the fact that a portal to the Nine Hells was just open and Elturel ripped down into it. So we're going to have a little bit of an undead encounter for them. We have it set up for both ways, so if they do decide to press on by themselves, they'll of course get attacked by these undead at their campsite one night, and if they do go with the refugees, they'll have the added excitement of helping protect these people from the undead horde that's coming. By horde, I mean 6 skeletons, 2 of them on war horses. Nothing too major. Just a little bit of a of a combat encounter to get them into their new character, into their new level. They just got to level 2 at the end of last session. When they do get to Baldur's Gate, they will find the place overwhelmed with refugees. The people in the surrounding countryside of Elturel would have gotten there before them, and there's at least a couple hundred people trying to get into Baldur's Gate. And the Flaming Fist have sealed the city to the citizens of Elturgard, feeling that there's a bunch of different reasons, but mainly the Baldur's Gate, the Flaming Fist, do not trust Elturel, and they don't trust the people coming from there to not bring whatever happened to Elturel back with them. So, they're going to meet Captain Darnan Zaj, who is going to be kind of like their quest giver right now. He's going to recognize the two players that had gone with Uldur and wade through the crowd of wet refugees to them and kind of ask for a report, ask them to tell him what the hell happened in Elturel. Once they do, Zaj will kind of direct them towards the Elfsong Tavern, saying that he has a contact there who might be able to help them find this bathhouse that they have reference to. As written, they have Darnan Zaj be a very... I mean, I just don't like the way it was written. Basically, they say Darnan Zaj beats up a bunch of refugees on his way to the players, and then gets there and says, I have a job for you, you're recruited by the Flaming Fist now, and I want you to go do this. If you have players that are just 100% willing to jump on board and follow whatever narrative you put in front of them, that would kind of work. It would be kind of like, okay, I guess. But really, having him approach them and having him know a couple of them, ask for the report, and then give them information, give them the choice. That's the way that I'm going to present this to them. And it kind of creates the illusion of choice. I mean, obviously we want them to go to the Elfsong Tavern, but we want it to be their decision, not some guy telling them, do this or I will have you killed. Just doesn't work very well in D&D. It's kind of weird that the writers put that in there, as you will see in a lot of other DM guides as well. So once they have interacted with Zaj and they head off on their way, I'm going to have some possibility of them being ambushed by Dead 3 while they're on their way, because the Dead 3 are just rampaging throughout Baldur's Gate right now on a murder spree, basically. So the likelihood of them stumbling across the party at some point is not low. It's not a low likelihood. It's pretty likely. So yeah. So at some point during the interaction with Zaj, Rhea is going to slip away from the group, kind of hearing that Zaj and the Flaming Fist are not exactly friendly towards the Hellriders right now. So Rhea's going to slip away. She'll come back into the story later. But yeah, most of the people in Baldur's Gate are scared. They heard what happened in Elturel, and they are worried that it will happen to them as well. So they are very wary of strangers. Lots of people hiding back in their houses, shutting doors as the players pass and whatnot. When the players do enter the Elfsong, we have a nice little song for them to hear when they get there. The Elfsong Tavern is known for an ethereal elf, a ghostly elven woman who sings every now and then. And when this event happens, everybody quiets respectfully and lets this elf sing and listens to the song and enjoys it. It kind of puts everyone at ease. Helps keep the tavern from getting too rowdy, getting fights and things breaking out. And this is going to be different, though. When the players enter, and after they've all gotten into the tavern and got a chance to look around a little bit, the elf song is going to begin, but it's going to be a very different one. And we have this one that will play. The Song of Elturel is completely different than anything that the other patrons have heard, especially the owner of this place. He's heard every song that the ghost has to sing, except for this one. Be very foreboding, very foreshadowing, and we have a handout so the players can actually see all the lyrics that are being sung as well. Anyone that speaks Elvish can translate this, and sorry about that. Anyone that speaks Elvish can translate this into its true words, and there is also some verses that are in common. It is a song about Elturel and how it is now in Hell, and how the Hellriders stand against this menace. So yeah, really great song. I'm going to play that for the players. There's a few different versions of it on YouTube. I highly recommend picking one of these out and showing it and letting your players give it a listen when they enter this tavern. So after all of that, we then have our new NPC, Tarina. She's not going to be there when the players arrive. I really want the players to get a chance to look around the Elf Song and interact with people, but if they ask about Tarina, This is the contact that Zodge sent them after. If they do ask about Tarina, they'll learn that she should be around any minute, any time now. She always shows up right around this time to play Baldur's Bones, which is a really cool game, which is basically blackjack with d6s for the players to play and get involved in when Tarina arrives. When she gets there, she's going to tell the players, hey, I'll go ahead and share whatever information you may want with you if you gamble with me a little bit first. Tarina is a cheater, so it's likely the players will lose some money unless they can detect her cheating or out-cheat her, which she actually does respect. She does enjoy when people can catch her and out-cheat her, and it's pretty well known that she is not exactly a fair player at Baldur's Bones. So after the players have played this game with her, and a little while after that, a bunch of pirates are essentially going to burst into the bar, and they're looking for Tarina. To be honest, they have pretty good reason to be looking for her. She did betray them. She is pretty well known for not being trustworthy, and she did betray these pirates. But they are there to kill her. And this has obviously got to be before. It's very important that the pirates burst in before Tarina gives the players the information that they're there for. Otherwise, of course, they don't really have much reason to defend her and get involved in this. Tarina says, well, if you want that information, you're going to have to stop these guys somehow. So that's a pretty gnarly fight, and this is one of the main reasons why we get the players to level 2 before getting here with that prologue, because this can be a super deadly fight for a level 1 party. But a level 2 party, it's just hard enough to be fair and balanced. So yeah, after a few rounds of Baldur's Bones, these pirates break in, and that is about as far as I expect to get. If it does seem like we're running through it really fast, we'll definitely have one of those encounters on the street, because we don't really want them to get to the bathhouse just yet. I have a player that's not going to be with us today, and while they are going to miss quite a bit, the bathhouse is something that I definitely want them to be there for the beginning of. So that's what we got. We have a couple new NPCs coming in. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to be role-playing these two yet. They're a little bit minor. There's only a scene or two with them, so I don't have them fleshed out too much. Really want to be able to improvise and see what comes out at the moment for these two. But basic info, we have on Captain Zodge and Tarina. The notable locations here, of course, Baldur's Gate and the Elfsong Tavern. Not too many stat blocks we're expecting to use today. If we do get into the cultist ambush, then we'll have the same enemies that were at the ritual site. We'll just have more of them. We'll have 2 Nightblades, 2 Necromites, and 4 of the Fists of Bane. So yeah. And as far as loot, Deadeye, the pirate captain who arrives, has a lot of loot on him. He has a couple hundred gold worth of stuff on him between jewelry, eye patches, and just loose change. So that'll be the gold and the rewards that they get. The bathhouse is where they'll start getting some real solid, like, magical items and spell books and whatnot. So yeah, we have our campaign map here. What we expect to happen as far as main story points for the campaign today. They're, of course, going to travel to Baldur's Gate, meet Captain Zodge, meet Tarina, and then, hopefully by the end of the session, they are well on their way to heading to the bathhouse. So, that is what we've got today, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, you can check these out on my Patreon. They arrive there 1 full month before they arrive on YouTube. So if you're following along with our Descent in Avernus campaign, check that Patreon out. It is linked below. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and have a good one.